Hello and welcome to CGTN's online coverage of the 2018 two sessions. I'm John Goodrich and today we are at the final ministerial press conference of China's political season.
Hello to our CGTN viewers. My name is Liu Yang. Good to see you again. And in about 10 minutes, the press conference will be held by Ministry of Environmental Protection. And I think will be tough questions will be answered, right?
Yeah, I think there'll be some tough questions today. And also we're in a unique situation because the National People's Congress this morning passed the State Council's restructuring plan, which means that the Ministry of Environmental Protection no longer exists or won't do in the near future. It's been taken over by a bigger agency, the Ministry of Ecological Environment, and it's going to be a far more powerful agency in the future. And I think probably over the next 10 minutes when it begins, we're going to hear a little bit more about that as well, I'd imagine.
Well, I don't know about that, but hopefully lots of issues will be answered, will be asked, right? I think there are two really important questions currently in China. One is poverty alleviation, and the other one is environmental and ecological system protection, right?
Absolutely. Li Ganjie's work report, which was a long time ago now, almost 2 weeks ago, on the first day of the MPC session, he identified three critical battles, and two of them, pollution and poverty alleviation.
Right, you're right. Good memory.
Thank you.
That was a long report, but every word counts.
Well, they're getting ready for the minister to come in. I know that you cover the south of China mostly, and you have a lot of experience of the rural revitalization projects which are underway at the moment.
As we've spoken about rural revitalization program, I think it's like a chain reaction, right? When the villagers getting wealthier, and it will certainly help the poverty alleviation, attract more tourists to the local area, to the villages, to the counties, and to the city. I think that will help the issue, as we mentioned, poverty alleviation. And the second, if we don't have a good ecological system and a good environment, no tourists will come, right? Will come, and that will not help the local villagers.
I think absolutely. Everything, as you said, it's a chain reaction. Everything is linked. By improving the lives of people in rural areas, we're also going to see an uptick in good environment and opportunities for them. And then also, you mentioned before something that caught my ear, pandas.
The Giant Panda National Park will be built in the next 5 years. China invested, I remember the figure was around like 10 billion yuan.
There's huge investment in protecting pandas.
To protecting the giant panda. I think not only the giant panda is very precious species, but also to its related species. It's like we talked about ecological chain. All of the species on the same chain, and also to help protect animals, right? Yeah. And I remember one of the articles mentioned about the Giant Panda National Park, like the whole area will about 20,000 square kilometers. That's the three times of the Yellowstone National Park.
3 times Yellowstone.
Yeah,
so it's enormous.
3 times Yellowstone. So that's.
And it also ties into what you were saying a second ago about getting tourists into these areas and bringing more money into the more impoverished rural areas.
Exactly.
By creating the panda, it's iconic of China. Everyone who comes here wants to have a look at a panda.
Have you been to Sichuan province before?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Welcome to Sichuan, and we have lots of pandas there. But I also want to remember, China only have about 1,800 wild giant pandas left in the wild. And in the conservation, all of the giant panda is in conservation. In the Chengdu conservation, park, it's about I think around 300. So, we only have that much of giant panda left. I think that's one of the examples I want to talk about because that's examples. If we don't have a better environment, better ecological system, they probably will go in the next 5 years.
And have you seen, just anecdotally, an improvement in the environmental situation in terms of pollution in the south of China? I know for me, I've been in Beijing for only a couple of years, but I've been visiting for 5, and I've seen a huge difference in the how the pollution looks. So much better. I think since 2015, then the PM 2.5 concentration is down something like 50% in Beijing. It's like a huge difference already. It's still a lot of work to do, of course. How about in the south of China?
Well, yes, I really want to talk about the car sharing service in Southwest China. I interviewed some of the companies there, and they said they will, let the profitable, profit coming back in about 5 or 6 years, and that's, I think, quite challenging for some of the companies because they invested like billions of yuan in car sharing service, and on the other hand, I think that will only this kind of service exist in China will help protect the environment and lower the carbon emission. Right? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Chinese investment in these innovative new technologies and ideas like car sharing and bikes we've seen a lot, but also electric vehicles. It's now the world leader in electric vehicles, world leader in solar panels. China's investing so much into these technologies. It's going to have a big influence over not only life in China and improving the environment here, but helping the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, helping the rest of the world. Like I also remember one of the examples. One of my interviewees told me that like the car sharing service. If in Paris, they have one of the companies in Paris. In Paris, have about like 10,000 people use car services every day. So that's a huge number. But currently, how do we change the perspective for the Chinese to start using the car sharing service, right? Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge.
Yeah, there are many challenges of that regard, but I think China's taking on these new ideas very quickly. Things like Didi is hugely popular.
Didi, yes, it's one of the examples.
The bike sharing services are massive here, and also you can link, I think, the success of the bike sharing services to the improved environment in the big cities. The number of polluting days is down a long way.
I think down significantly.
In the big cities.
I think we have our blue skies back.
Yeah.
At least last year.
Yeah.
We have seen lots of blue skies in last year, and including this year in the last few months. Yeah.
And I should say as well, behind us, then the press conference is almost full. There's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of competition for questions.
Reporters are packed right now.
It's a popular one. If you get a question, what are you gonna ask? What are you interested to find out from the minister today?
Okay, I'm kind of interested. Like we just talked about the law and the regulations issued by National People's Congress in January. I think one of the regulations issued was a kind of environmental protection tax was issued, and also water pollution prevention and control law was issued. I think that's a huge step for China, and to regulate companies and the local governments to give them pressure. Right? We need blue sky back. We need the beautiful China back. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the NPC session here at the two sessions, then the spokesman Zhang Yishui said that China is moving towards getting a full framework of environmental law, and that's where it's aiming to go. And I'm sure the minister will expand on that today and the progress made over the past year or so.
I'm so looking forward. How much time we left? Only 10 minutes?
Yeah, he'll be here any minute now, I think. So that should be very interesting. But also, maybe we'll have to wait and see, but maybe we'll also find out more about China's attitude to the rest of the world in terms of the environment, and maybe how the Belt and Road Initiative can contribute to helping some countries also take on solar technology or electric vehicles, things that China's really leading the way in. Hopefully we'll find out a little bit more about that today, because I think China is looking to lead these markets, not just domestically, but globally over the next 10, 20 years, and taking on the innovation that we are seeing throughout China. The tech companies in the south, I know there's a lot of them based in Anhui, where I visited last year.
So tell us the story about your visits in Anhui.
Well, there's two things I pick out, both on pollution, which you mentioned earlier, and also on poverty alleviation. On pollution, we visited JAC Motors. It's a huge car company here in China.
And they're developing brand.
Yeah.
Sorry, a huge Chinese company brand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're making huge strides in electric vehicles. They let me drive one, which maybe they regretted a little bit. I wasn't so comfortable behind the wheel. Some sharp turns where I got a bit confused. But it was a small, like a window into China's electric vehicle industry, which is just growing so fast. They're anticipating being 7 million electric vehicle sales in China
7 million
by 2025.
By 2025.
Yeah, which is enormous. China really leading the way.
Do you have a plan to purchase one in the next 2 years, maybe?
I would like to. I think the main challenge for electric vehicles is getting the cost down so they're affordable for everybody. So at the moment, because of the cost of batteries and things like this, it's an expensive car to buy. But hopefully, over the coming years, we'll see that price drop and it be more accessible to more people.
Well, like you said, the charging station is one of the important, right? Like most of the electric vehicles, it lasts for like 6 hours, and then you need to get back to find a charging station, right?
Yeah. So a lot of it is to do with infrastructure and preparing the ground for this to work.
To build more facilities, charging stations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the minister is coming.
The excitement is coming. So I think.
Seconds. So I will see you.
Yeah.
Our CGT viewers.
Thank you very much for joining us and enjoy the press conference. And you can catch more from CGTN on its app and TV channel.
Okay.
Thank you.
总零用的单位是什么呢？
总什么？
零。
总哪个零？
就你刚刚问的零啊。
总零用的单位。
谢谢大家。各位记者朋友，大家下午好，欢迎参加13届全国人大1次会议记者会。今天记者会的主题是打好防治污染攻坚战。今天我们很高兴地邀请到环保部部长李干杰先生，围绕这一主题回答大家的提问。首先有请李干杰部长。
各位记者朋友，大家下午好。首先呢，我代表环保部门衷心感谢大家长期以来给予生态环境保护工作的关心、理解、支持和帮助。我们工作取得的每一项进展、每一份成绩啊，都包含和凝聚了大家的辛劳和奉献。大家知道啊，党的18大以来，在以习近平同志为核心的党中央的坚强领导下，在习近平新时代中国特色社会主义思想的科学指引下，我们国家的生态环境保护工作乃至整个生态文明建设工作啊，决心之大、力度之大、成效之大，前所未有，确实是取得了历史性的成就，发生了历史性变革。但是呢，我们也清醒地认识到啊，当前我们面临的形势依然十分严峻，未来啊还任重道远。我们呢决心呢更加的奋发图强、攻坚克难，努力改善生态环境质量，提供更多的优质生态产品，满足啊人民群众日益增长的优美生态环境需要。在这个过程中呢，还期待
During this process, we are also looking forward friends from the press to continue supporting us and concerning and understanding us. In this regard, we can make joint efforts to build a world with blue sky and lucid water and a beautiful China. Today is a good day. It's been long-term drought, and now we are witnessing the fruitful snow, which will bring a harvest year. Today puts an end to 150 days of drought. And this morning, General Secretary Xi Jinping won all the ballots on the meeting of the election and to be re-elected as the chairman, as the president of China. We firmly believe that under the leadership of President Xi, our goal, our dream can be achieved. And next, I'm willing to take your questions. Thank you, Mr. Minister Li Ganjie. Now the floor is open for questions.
战，政府工作报告也进一步要求要分别提出工作思路和具体的举措，排出时间表、路线图和优先序。那么，请问李部长，环保部就打好污染防治攻坚战有哪些具体的举措？您这边是否已经有了一本账？怎样算好这本账呢？谢谢您。
Xinhua News Agency. To win the 3 critical battles, the Premier said there must be specific work plans and concrete measures. It is imperative to draw up a timetable, a roadmap, and identify priority tasks. Has the Ministry of Environmental Protection worked out a concrete plan, and how will it ensure it's well implemented?
谢谢您的提问。大家知道啊，到
Thank you for your question. As we all know, by the year of 2020, we will build a prosperous society in all respects. That's the solemn promise initiated by the party to our people. And within this framework, the eco-environment is a short link. Nevertheless, President Xi said whether the society is prosperous or not, the ecosystem is the top priority. In order to make up for this shortage as soon as possible, the 19th CPC National Congress has set the pollution battle as one of the 3 critical battles. On the Central Committee Economic Meeting during last December, it also required and deployed the future plans. And Premier Li also stressed on the government work report to firmly fight against the critical battle in terms of environmental protection and proceed the work. This is the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core deployment on the overall plan, and which meet the demands of people's willingness for a better life, and its a major deployment. It's also the key and glorified task led to us by the Central Committee in order to achieve the goal and accomplish the mission. After 19th CPC National Congress, we've conducted a series of trainings and research, also seminars. It is fair to say we have made achievements and have basic concepts in fighting the battle against pollution. We have an account book at a premier stage. Although it is still at the initial stage, in future, we will continue completing this. The basic concept, to put it into simplified concept, it is there are 3 mountains. There are 3 threes. The first 3 is about 3 aspects which to meet the demand and to reach the goal of environmental protection. We will increase the good air day. and to reduce the PM 2.5. In terms of water, we will improve 3 types of water quality. Second, for the major pollutants, and also the reduction of the emissions, including the sulfur dioxide and the nitrate and other chemical compounds. The third goal is to prevent and control the environmental risks, including the farmlands and the city construction's land risk. This is the first 3 goals. And the second 3 aspects is, first, we will focus on 3 aspects, which is familiar to all of you and is also of your concern. That's air, water, and soil. In terms of the air, we will step up to lay out the plans for the next stage to prevent and control air pollution and to firmly defend the blue sky. For water, we will deepen the current policy which was initiated in April in 2015. That's the 10 measures of water pollution prevention and control, and we will defend the water firmly. The third is to fully implement the soil prevention and control action plan initiated in the year 2016, and to step up with soil protection. This is the second 3 aspects. And for the third 3 aspects, that's 3 basics. To speak against the backdrop of environmental protection, these 3 fundamentals are very crucial. They are to safeguard and lay a solid foundation for environmental protection, so we call it 3 fundamentals. The first one is to proactively promote the green lifestyle and development mode, because this is the basis. If we don't change our lifestyle and the development mode, it will be difficult to fight against the battle of air pollution. Second, we need to accelerate and expand the ecosystem's conservation and restoration. And there are relevant projects. The ecological conservation and restoration is very critical. And third, we will step up to formulate the management system in terms of modernization, and we will continue to reform and complete the ecological management system. Through reform, we will tap more potential and dividend to safeguard and support our battle against pollution. In general, above is the concept. That's the 3 threes. 3 goals, 3 priorities, and 3 fundamentals. I would like to report to you in particular. On one hand, we are working hard to conduct research and complete our concept, which is the account book. Meanwhile, we are stepping up the implementation. This means the specific deployment of the fight against pollution has never been stagnated. Rather, we are accelerating it. 3 years are transcend. We cannot wait. So On the one hand, we are conducting top-level design. On the other hand, we are working from the bottom level. We have conditions and we have basis to do so. Since the 18th Party Congress, in order to fight against pollution and win the battle, the Central Committee has consecutively initiated 3 action plans. 5 years have passed. The time proved these 10 measures in terms of direction and policy and goals, all of them are scientific and reasonable, and they are efficient and targeted. Because of this, we achieved fruitful results in the past 5 years. Also, in faced with the future 3 years, we will continue the past policies and continue to adopt targeted policies. Maybe it's difficult, but it will solve the problem and yield fruitful results. We will continue to do so. In future, we will firmly echo to the Central Committee's requirements and step up the implementation to exert great efforts in order to improve the eco and environmental conditions and to improve the safety of the people and also the happiness of the people. Thank you.
也就是在今天上午，我们全国人大表决通过了国务院机构改革方案。其中大家都很关心的一个，也发现了一个变化，就是将组建生态环境部。我想请问一下部长，新成立的部门职能和环保部有什么区别？未来将发挥什么作用？谢谢。
China Daily. I have a question on an issue which I think many of us are interested in. This morning, the National People's Congress adopted the reform plan for State Council institutions, and there will be a Ministry of Ecological Environment. Minister, how are the functions of this new ministry different from the Ministry of Environmental Protection, and what role is it expected to play? Thank you.
谢谢您的提问。
Thank you for your question. To deepen the reform from the party and also the institution is very necessary, and that is the necessarily requirement to uphold the spirit and also the development of China, and that is also very necessary to improve the national development, and also necessary for us to achieve our 200 targets and achieve the Chinese dream. This morning, the National People's Congress has passed the institutional reform of State Council, and the new plan is to transfer the whole functions and responsibilities of Ministry of Environmental Protection with other functions from the other 6 institutions, and to establish a new Ministry of Ecological Environment. And the new ministry will institute all the responsibilities regarding to ecological protection and also environmental law enforcement. From my perspective, this institutional reform is our effort to uphold and to achieve the total target of ecological reform. which is a very important measure. This reform also is a detailed gesture to realize our efforts and targets in ecological development. And that is also a profound reform in all respect. It is of great significance, and it is also a historic milestone. This reform, it's definitely in accordance with Xi Jinping's thought on socialism, especially his thought on ecological civilization. Since the 18th Party Congress, President Xi Jinping delivered various remarks and speeches on ecological civilization. Therefore, the strategic thought on ecological protection has formed. And there are a few points that are very important for our work, and that is of great significance in directing our work. The first point, the development of ecological protection can boost the development of civilization. Second, human and nature has a shared destiny. Third, a good environment can boost economic development. Third, ecological protection is of great importance to the livelihood of people. Fifth, we need to have a systematic thought on ecological protection. Sixth, we also need to have the strictest ecological protection law enforcement. And seventh, to protect the environment calls for joint effort of the whole society. Finally, we need to actively participate into the ecological protection and have a win-win solution of the global vision. And I believe that this reform definitely reflect the whole thoughts of Xi Jinping's thought on ecological civilization. We will have a systematic execution of the ecological civilization. And in the recent meeting, President Xi Jinping reiterated that we need to push forward our effort in ecological civilization and coordinate our effort in all round. Also, in the last plenary meeting of the 13th session, President Xi Jinping also stressed that the institution reform must be in accordance with the requirement and also the system of ecological protection. The environmental elements is inseparable with each other. If you grow tree, you only grow tree without having any thought or consideration with other aspects of the environment, then the ecology will be harmed. President Xi Jinping also stressed that the supervisor and the owner should be different. They must be independent from each other and supervise each other. And in this reform, one of the good points is that we implement that requirement from President Xi Jinping. For long term, in the past, there are two weaknesses in our institution. The first one is that responsibilities interact with each other or have a overall laid out with each other. And once there is some incident happened, it is very difficult to find out who is accountable for that incident. Second, the supervisor is not separate from the enforcer. Sometimes one can be both the athlete and also the referee. And in this reform, the two problems have been well addressed. And the accountability and responsibility is all laid out very clearly. From the Ministry of Natural Resources, you can see that the whole system applies to that ministry as well. And we have a clear system in our supervision. The first is from the aloft to the underground, and the second is from the bank to underwater. Third is from the land to the sea, and the fourth is from the urban to rural, and the fifth from carbon oxide to carbon dioxide. And the new Ministry of Ecological Environment has a very different responsibilities from the Ministry of Environmental Protection. Next step, we will, in line with the requirement from the Central Committee, to implement the reform plan. And this will lay a great foundation to our effort in environmental protection and to win the critical battle of environmental pollution. We have the responsibility and obligation and also the confidence to do a better work. That also includes we will ensure to uphold consistent spirit and have teamwork spirit. Also, we will further be more inclusive and have more spirit of enforcement, so that to safeguard the environment. And from this reform, we will further improve our work style, our capability, and other aspects, so that we can deliver a better result. Thank you.
部长先生今天是带着大气10条圆满答卷来的，但是同时我们也注意到近期还出现了一次非常严重的雾霾天气，所以想请部长先生来谈一谈，在下一步新的大气污染防治3年计划当中，我们的目标是什么？到2020年 PM2.5 的浓度要下降到什么程度？在具体方案实施方面，与之前的大气10条有什么不同？谢谢。
Reuters. I've heard that, Minister, you have brought a perfect scorecard for the 10-point measures on air pollution today, but we have also experienced a heavy smoke in recent days. My question is, could you share with us the goals of the 3-year action plan in the next phase, and what is the target for the reduction of particulate matter 2.5 by 2020? And what will be the changes in the implementation of this action plan compared to that of the 10-point measures on air pollution? Thank you.
大气十条呢是2013年9月份正式发布实行。这个文件呢是在中国的环境保护历史上，我以为是非常重要的一个文件。
This document in China's
我的印象里面，它是首次经过了国务院常务会和中央政治局常委会审议通过的。
Received the State Council and the Standing Committee of the CPC Central Committee evaluation and approval.
坚决向污染宣战，开展污染系统治理的
It's the firm stance from the CPC Central Committee to fight against pollution.
正如我刚才前面向大家报告的
That marks the first action plan.
因为它的
Just like I mentioned,
方向、路径、举措、目标、任务都是科学合理的。
Because the direction, the track, and the goals are scientific and are targeted, are feasible. We've achieved fruitful results. Since the end of last year, the press have reported a lot, and we can see the appreciation and recognition from the public. People also identified the fruitful results. The achievements are mainly lying in following aspects. First, for the air quality, it has been obviously improved comparing to the past 5 years. The 10-point measures have 5 great goals. We were not so confident to set up these 5 goals in the past, and we were afraid of making things unaccomplished. But actually, we've achieved fruitful results. The first goal is in the 338 prefecture-level cities, the PM10 will be reduced by 10+%. And second, Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei region as the key cities in China, the PM2.5 should be reduced by 20%. And the third goal is the PM2.5 in the Yangtze River Delta should be reduced by 20%. And the fourth, the PM2.5 among the Pearl River Delta should be reduced by 15%. And the fifth goal is of great concern. That's the Beijing 60 abatement. We've achieved these 5 goals since during the past 5 years, and we've exceeded the targets. Among the 338 prefecture-level cities, the PM10 reduced by 20%, and the PM2.5% reduced by 39.6% in Beijing area. And the Beijing 60 have been reduced by 58 micrograms. 2 of them are remarkable. The first one is the Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei region have met the required standards by 3 consecutive years. Second, we've offered favorable prioritization for some key fields, especially for the industry, energy, and the transportation structure. The structures in these three fields are prioritized and optimized. In the past 5 years, we've cancelled the excessive capacity in iron and steel industry, which yielded fruitful results. During the government worker report led by Premier Li, he also pointed out a figure. We've reduced 170 million of the iron and the steel, and we've cut the coal-fired energy by 700 million kilowatts, which accounts for a 71% reduction. And we've also removed over 200,000 incinerators and also cancelled 20 million old vehicles. And we've conducted the policy in the city clusters around Beijing to replace the coal heating of gas. In the past, we wanted to implement this. Now we've achieved it, which have been the pillar of the environmental improvement. Third, for the new mechanism of the air prevention and control, it has been basically formulated. First, we have the thematic supervision and inspection group for environmental protection. We implement the responsibility-oriented mechanism. People are involving, and in some key areas we have the combined responsibilities, which also contribute to the environmental protection. Also, to strengthen the support from science and technology, we also established the mechanisms. Last year, we initiated the severe air polluted weather special team and mechanism, which also contributed to the air quality improvement. And in terms of investment, we've initiated the government and the social sector to engage and support the investment mechanism. In the past 5 years, simply the Central Fiscal Department have invested 60 billion plus yuan. Through the past 5 years, 10-point measures, we've seen pragmatic and concrete progress. During this past 5 years of process, there is no reason for us to be proud, to be too proud, because we are still faced up with severe challenges and conditions. We are still facing utmost goal, not only for the air quality, but also for the whole environmental protection. During this year's 2 sessions, we have witnessed the severe polluted weather in Beijing, which also laid us warnings. Before the 2 sessions, from 26th to 28th, there were severe polluted weather And from the 2nd to the 4th in this month, there were the second round of severely polluted weather. And the third round is just concluded from 9th to 14th of this month. Just within less than 20 months, we've witnessed 4 times of severely polluted weather. Generally speaking, we are relying on the weather. If the weather helps, we can live a better life. Without the weather's help, the smog might be heavy. There is a long way to go to lift us out of this difficulty. On the basis of the past years, we need to exert greater efforts to implement the policies, or rather, we cannot achieve our set goals. Meanwhile, I also want to stress that we must have confidence. Just like I mentioned, all the achievements are pragmatic. And during the process, we've accumulated and explored fine traditions and experiences which are suitable for China's national condition and characteristics. Also goes in accordance with the nature of the things. If we continue these better experiences, we can continue to develop, and we can continue to yield more fruitful results. We mentioned the several rounds of severely polluted weather. From the other aspect, it also proves that we've achieved fruitful results during past year's management. For the round from 9th to 14th, we predicted 2 mid-level smog weather. But finally, through our efforts, we reduced the smog days. Although it's still far from the goal, we can see the results, the achievements we've made. We had the bad meteorological condition during the past 5 days. The experts estimated this year's condition is the worst and the longest during the past 20 days. What does this reversed temperature mean? That means to set the line of 1,500 meters, that means the temperature above this line and below this line are different. So the pollutants below this line cannot be removed. And under these very severe meteorological conditions, we actually had less severe conditions, severe days. These were due to the past 5 years, especially the last year's efforts, which were effective. The experts also estimated that the 3 structural reform and relevant policies account for 20% of this contribution. And we also have emergency and alerting platform in localities, which contribute 15% to this achievement. So in total, this round of smog days were reduced by more than 1/3. Time proves we are in the right way. We will continue this, and we can firmly do better. We need to make joint efforts to achieve this. The air quality improvement is not only a critical battle but also a protracted war. We cannot solve it over one night. We need endless efforts. This is not just a slogan. We need consistent efforts. Only with consistent efforts we can achieve the final goal. And you also asked about by the year of 2020, what's our goal of the PM 2.5? Because we are conducting the 3 years operation plan to defend the blue sky. We are also doing research in terms of this. I think it will come out soon. The total goal is also outlined in the 13th five-year plan. We will base on this and continue our research and deepen it. Some of the goals will be maintained and some of the goals will be elevated. Like the fine weather days, in the past it was 80%. That's our goal. We think it is very difficult to achieve this goal. And for the reduction rate of PM 2.5, it was set on a 5 years basis. There were 262 cities which need to reduce 18% of the PM 2.5, but our results have exceeded these set goals. We've achieved 15.8%, and in the following 3 years, we can achieve the set goal. And we will report to you the latest information timely. Thank you.
「去年呢，中央环保督察实现了全覆盖，成效得到了认可。但同时呢，公众还是有2方面的担心，一个是担心这个督察会有一阵风的现象，那么另外一个担心呢，就是怕有一些地方呢是因为担心督察而直接就对这个企业呢进行一刀切的行为。那么请问您如何回应这2方面的担忧？另外呢，在这个机构改革方案当中，明确了中央环保督察呢是今后这个生态环境部的重要职能。那么下一步我们会如何考虑？谢谢。
China National Radio, the nationwide central environmental inspections last year were productive and widely commended. But some worry that such inspections were a one-off campaign and the problem exposed may not be truly rectified. Some others fear that inspectors would adopt a one-size-fits-all approach for all enterprises. What's your response to these concerns? Another thing, the Institution Reform Plan explicitly states that central environmental inspection will be a major function of the ministry. What do you have in mind on that?
The central environmental inspection regarding to this topic, I have already introduced some of the aspects of this central environmental prospection in the 19th Party Congress, and I concluded with 4 sentences. That was from my colleagues, and I completely agree with it. Over the past 2 years, we have conducted 4 batches of inspection, and that has delivered a very good result. And we have addressed a series of environmental problems. And that translated to around 800,000 cases. And a lot of dispute cases was well addressed in the Central Environmental Inspection. You mentioned about whether we can maintain the achievement and performance of the Central Environmental Inspection and whether we can implement some of the inspection report. You know that in the report we have a lot of questions and problems and issues. As long as the issues is listed in the inspection report, then you can see that the issue is a very big one and a tricky one. That is also a question that I'm very concerned of, whether we can maintain the achievement and keep it in a long goal, and whether we can implement all of the requirement. It's a big concern of mine. In fact, from the design stage of the Central Environmental Inspection, we truly value and attach great importance to this issue, not only for the Central Environmental Inspection. The leadership from the Central Committee, especially President Xi Jinping, attached great importance to this issue. And President Xi Jinping reiterated that this should be of great significance in our institutional reform. Therefore, we also attach great importance when we did our institutional reform. Once we have identified the problem, we must eradicate it. And as far as we can see right now, we have achieved good achievement. That include, first, the local government attached great importance to the environmental inspection in 31 provinces. Leadership group in environmental inspection has been established. And we will appoint a leadership from high level to be the leader of this inspection group. And that will ensure the performance and implementation of these environmental inspection groups. Second, the environmental inspection system has addressed a lot of problems. In the inspection report, 2,147 issues have been listed, and 47% of them have been addressed. And we will also push forward our effort in addressing the rest. Third, during the process of inspection, we will implement a very strict accountability system. And during the process, we will ask for accountabilities of all levels. And from our statistics, around 18,000 of people has been accounted. And second, for the problems should be accounted leaders, list we have appointed to the local level. And currently, the first and second batches have been addressed. And the first batch have been publicized to the press. We have accounted 1,100 people. And a lot of them are at a ministry level. And from the second batch, we have strengthened our effort. And in this batch, Just over 1,000 of people has been accounted. We have accounted 162 ministry-level person and 56 of ministry level above. And third, during the process, once we have identified new problems, we will account that problems immediately. Not so long ago, we have publicized a problem in Jiangsu Nantong, and that is about irresponsible behaviors. And Jiangsu province government has did a well accountability tracking gesture that will also raise awareness of the public and also made a great contribution in our further effort in the future. Third, combined with our own condition, the Central Environmental Inspection has around 330 lists. And the local government will also learn from the central government and established a local environmental inspection mechanism. Currently, the provincial level has been established. And that is also very well received. In the next step, let me firstly answer your question about one approach fits all. Regarding that issue, what does it mean to be one approach fits all? From my understanding, that means that one will make no difference to the characteristics and features of all enterprise, and no matter whether it's legal or illegal, we will shut down all the enterprises. And for the illegal enterprises, if they have some misbehaviors and that harm the environment, we should definitely shut it down. However, one approach fits all. It's not a prominent issue, and we went against it at a very preliminary stage. However, during the process of environmental inspection, one approach fits all does exist. Once we have found that out, we correct it immediately. And in the future, our attitude is very affirmed. We definitely go against it. And we will not allow one approach fits all to harm the overview of Central Environmental Inspection. And we will definitely implement our accountability mechanism. If we identify one case of one approach fits all, we will definitely execute penalty for that case immediately. We will definitely stop it. Since the Central Environmental Inspection has been well received, and please be well assured that we will continue our effort in Central Environmental Inspection. And one of the main directives from the Central Committee is to continue the effort of Central Environmental Inspection. We will continue our effort and develop it and also improve it. This year, I'd like to make some work report regarding the central environmental inspection. The first one is to initiate the first round of central environmental inspection. For the enterprises listed, we will ask for their performance. And second, combined with the history, and regarding to the important or severe issues in some local regions, we will continue our effort in environmental inspection. For example, if in one province the air pollution is very severe, then the air pollution control will be a key priority in the province's environmental inspection. And if in other province water pollution is even more severe, or it has other severe problems in the natural resource protection, then we will make that as the priority. Third, we will improve the relevant regulations regarding central environmental inspection, so that to make the every round of central environmental inspection well instituted. Fourth, we will strengthen our effort in the supervision of provincial level environmental inspection. Our target is by 2018, all provinces will establish their environmental inspection and have all the city-level environmental inspection covered. We believe that with the joint effort of all levels, the environmental inspection mechanism will play a more important role in the future. Thank you.
谢谢主持人，我是法制日报、法制网、法制日报客户端的记者。我的问题是关于新环保法实施的。新环保法实施已经有3年，当初修法时候引入的按日计罚、移送拘留、公益诉讼等具体规定，在实际工作中发挥了显著作用。请李部长介绍一下新环保法实施以来，环保事业取得了哪些进展，还存在哪些问题？未来将如何进一步推进工作，为打赢污染防治攻坚战做出新贡献？谢谢。
Legal Daily. The new environmental protection law, which has been in place for 3 years, introduced effective provisions such as daily penalty, administrative detention, and public interest litigation. Minister, how much credit do you give to this law vis-à-vis the achievements in environmental protection? What are the remaining issues, and how will this law further contribute to the fight against pollution?
新的环保法呢是2014年4月全国人大常委会审议通过的。
Environmental protection law was adopted in April 2014 after the NPC's deliberation, and it was implemented on the 1st of January in 2015. So it has been 3 years. And this environmental protection law is most strict in history. 3 years passed. It improves that this is the most strict environmental protection laws in history. We've yielded fruitful results. In the year of 2016 and 2017, we've invited experts from the Renmin University of China and the relevant universities conducted a third-party evaluation on this work. The conclusion is basically coincided with each other. In terms of the law enforcement and the impact of this new environmental protection law, it ranks the best in history. To put it into details, first, the law enforcement has been strengthened. because of the provisions of this new environmental protection law have been added. And there are several like administrative detention and public interest litigation which have supported our law enforcement strengthening. Comparing 2017 to 2014, the law enforcement cases nationwide is 230,000 cases in 2017, which increased by 80% than 2014. And the penalty adds up to 10 billion plus yuan, so which have been increased by 200% than the year of 2014. So you can see we've really strengthened the law enforcement. And there are various types of the law enforcement. It's more diversified. We have strengthened the supervision and the inspection. We've also conducted thematic supervision and also have special discussions and limit the approval and report timely. These are all the ways. In terms of administration and for legislation, we give full play to the lawsuits to improve and enhance the law enforcement. The Ministry of Public Security and the Supreme People's Court and the Procuratorate also supported us greatly. In 2017, the public interest litigation, which are suspected for the violation of environmental laws, have also doubled. And for the second type of violation also increased. And third, we've supported relevant charity foundations and organizations. So you can see we really have diversified ways. And during this law enforcement, we also adopt technologies like the remote control. And we also use a big data analysis platform. And for the 2+2060 city clusters, we adopted new technologies. That's to specify these city clusters into detailed regions. And if in the specified region there is air pollution, we will send the inspection group there. We've really enhanced and improved the ways of controlling the pollution. Fourth, we've improved the public participation. In the year of 2017, Ministry have received 117,000 reports through calls or emails. This also doubled the previous years. And it is 3.5 times of that in 2014. It was 38,000 reports in 2014. This also reflects the reports have channels now. And we are carefully taking these reports. For the 2+26 city clusters, since the winter last year, we disclosed the reports to the public, and we stick to solve the problems in order to echo the reports. And fifth, the achievements of the law enforcement are emerging. You can identify this through the improvement of the environmental quality. Some enterprises also supported this. So from the above all, the 3 years operation of the new environmental protection law has yielded fruitful results, and in future it will continue to offer achievements. Some enterprises are still undergoing the mission problems. From the perspective of the government, some responsibilities still need to be strengthened. If our enterprises obey the rule and the law, the government will meet and keep the promise. And then the air quality should have been better. So we still have large space to improve and work hard in. In future, we will firmly strengthen the strict law and targeted law to implement the new environmental protection law in a good way, and also to implement the other relevant laws in parallel. There are other laws on air or aquatic environment or soil. We've revised them and we've enacted new laws like the water law. For the enactment and amendment of new laws, fully showcased the new concepts, new thoughts of President Xi Jinping, and it also combines the characteristics in new era. In future, we will continue to strengthen the law enforcement in order to make it the pillar of our work. Thank you.
部长您好，我是江苏广电总台融媒体新闻中心的记者。我有个问题，就是总理政府工作报告提出建设天蓝地绿水清的美丽中国。我们知道呢，在天蓝上，咱们已经做了很多的工作，取得了很大的成效。那么在水清上有哪些作为？尤其我们江苏是长江沿线的一个重要省份。这次在两会上呢，我们江苏代表团有30多位代表联名提出议案，为长江水环境保护立法。那么下一步在水环境治理上有哪些举措？重点又在哪儿？谢谢您。
Jiangsu TV, the government work report vows to build a beautiful China free of air, soil, and water pollution. We know that a lot of efforts have been made to tackle air pollution and a lot's been achieved. But what about water pollution? This year, in this year's MPC, over 30 deputies from Jiangsu province proposed a motion to legislate for the protection of water in the Yangtze River, because Jiangsu is an important province along this river. So what are the priorities in the next step of water pollution control?
Water pollution prevention and air pollution prevention are similar, which received high attachments from the Central Committee and of great concern from the people. In the past 5 years, except for the air prevention and control, we also adopted the 10 measures on water pollution prevention and control. It was adopted in April in 2015, which has also yielded pragmatic results. Actually, before that 10-point measures on water pollution prevention and control, we've also had pragmatic results. The surface water quality nationwide, comparing 2017 to 2012, 3 types of water qualities have been increased by 6.3%. And for grade 5, water, it has been improved by 10%. The water quality during the Yangtze River Economic Delta has improved by 9.1%. And for the bad quality, has been decreased by 6%. So comparing 2017 to 2015, the good quality of water above level 3 have been increased by 1.5%, but the grade 5 quality have been reduced.
To solve the problems of water pollution is even more challenging than the air pollution. And in the critical battle to fight against pollution, water pollution prevention and control is a great component. And from our initiative plan, we have already initiated a preliminary plan in the short term. First, to improve the water quality, and second, to control the water pollution emission, control the total water pollution. And second, it's to enhance the water capacity, to strengthen the restoration of water ecology, so that the water basin will have a larger capacity to digest pollution. And third, we will make 4 water bodies as our priority. These 4 water bodies has received a lot of attention from the public, and this will be our starting point. The first water body is the mainstream, which means that would be our topest priority. The second water body is the odorous and black water. This has also received a lot of attention from the people. Third, it's the 5-level inferior water. And fifth, it's about the water that's about to enter into the delta region and that's failed to reach the standard. We will surround these 4 water bodies and to lay out our measures of water pollution prevention. Fourth, we will fast up and move forward our effort in water pollution prevention. And the first is about industrial zone. For the illegal enterprises, we will definitely eradicate or renovate or reallocate or even shut down Second, we will raise the standard of emission for the key industries and key enterprises. Third is about living zone. We will enhance our effort in water pollution prevention and control in rural areas and urban living areas. Some of the areas have reached good result, but some of them are in a slow process. Apart from urban area, we will also improve the water pollution prevention effort in rural area. Fourth, actually that's the third point. Pollutions in rural area. For example, fertilizers control. Currently, we have achieved zero growth in fertilizers use in rural areas. And second, we will also enhance our effort in the water body control in rural area. And the fourth, it's about the aquatic ecological restoration. First is about the wetland. We need to improve our protection of wetland. Second is about the basic ecological flow of the river basin. Previously, we haven't accumulate enough awareness in the river basin protection. Now we will need to enhance our effort to reach the demand of the basic functions of river basin. And finally, we need to push forward our effort in the implementation of water pollution prevention. And we also need to consolidate our foundation of environmental law enforcement. We need to enhance our effort in environmental inspection and lay out the implementation of environmental law. Second, we need to coordinate, have coordinated effort in all river basins. We know that the river basins in each areas are inseparable with each other. So we need to have a systematic effort in the water pollution prevention of all these river basins. Third, we need to have consolidate our technological development foundation. And finally, we need to improve our promotion in terms of raising the awareness of water pollution prevention. In conclusion, we will go in accordance with the plans I just mentioned, so that to consolidate our effort in water pollution prevention. In this regard, Yangtze River is of great importance. In the Yangtze River, we will definitely put ecological prevention protection as our priority. In the 10th of March, when the President Xi Jinping attended a meeting in Chongqing, he reiterated that Changjiang Ecological Zone must lay out its development plan and stop the previous unbalanced development plan in terms of economy and ecology. We must implement President Xi Jinping's requirement in the development of Yangtze River. Apart from that, we also need to implement the ecological protection plan in Yangtze River from the Central Committee. Firstly, we will strengthen the environmental inspection in Yangtze Economic Zone. And second, we will also set out the red line of ecological protection. That means the 3 lines and 1 list. Third, we will also keep the Yangtze River as a priority in our ecological protection. And after 2 years' effort, 126 city-level regions and also 316 regions, ecological protection has delivered great result. In the next step, we will put the pollution control of black water and odorous water as our priority. We will also improve our ecological protection restoration mechanism in Yangtze River. Jiangsu Province is of great significance in this regard, and we hope that in the future, Jiangsu Province can play a bigger role and play a leading role in terms of the protection of Yangtze River and the water pollution prevention in nationwide. Thank you.
那么我们知道，“一带一路”作为中国的重大倡议，在给沿线国家带来发展机遇的同时，也有外媒产生质疑，给当地环境造成了威胁。那么，请问环保部会采取哪些措施，进一步推动绿色“一带一路”的发展？谢谢。
CGTN. The Belt and Road Initiative proposed by China has provided development opportunities for countries along the routes, but some fear that it might threaten the environment of those countries. So what will the Ministry of Environmental Protection do for a green Belt and Road?
大家知道了，这个在19大报告中间呢，总书记是特别明确的提出啊。
In the report of the 19th Party Congress, President Xi Jinping stressed that in order to establish a community of shared destiny under a context of shared peace and mutual benefit, we need to have a green development mode and safeguard the home of all human beings. Especially in the strategy of Belt and Road Initiative, President Xi Jinping stressed several times that, for example, in the last year's Belt and Road Summit, President Xi Jinping said, we need to have a new development concept and have a sustainable lifestyle development, strengthen the effort in environmental protection, so that to achieve the goal in 2035. He also stressed that we will set out a big data platform in environmental protection along the Belt and Road regions. It is undoubted that as the Environmental Protection Ministry, we will definitely implement the requirement and concepts from President Xi Jinping. In fact, the Belt and Road Initiative has to go on the path of environmental protection so that to achieve a good result. In general, the enterprises and units in China along the Belt and Road region, not only in that region, but also in other projects in foreign countries, we have attached great importance in achieving the standard of ecological protection in the local countries. We have also achieved great result in a lot of projects and cases. For example, in 2015, China delivered a coal-fired plant in India, the Indian government has reduced the limitation of coal-fired emission. And in that year, we have just met the opportunity of standard upgrading. However, regarding to this project, we had also won an environmental gold medal in India. And this is a very classic project to show that we attach great importance to environmental protection in overseas. Since the implementation of Belt and Road Initiative, we also attach great importance in environmental protection to serve the green development of Belt and Road Initiative. Last year, combined with the effort of other ministries, for example, Ministry of Commerce, we have instituted an important document named the Directory of Green Development of Belt and Road Initiative. It has set out the general requirement in green development of Belt and Road Initiative. And after that, we also have compiled the general plans of green development that set out detailed requirements and regulations. In the meanwhile, we also have pushed forward some industries and enterprises to sign agreement and establish mechanisms.
At the same time, we've promoted the Center for Technological Transfer and Communications, and we also have the Green Silk Road plan to conduct seminars and trainings to help the countries along the road, the Belt and Road, especially the developing countries, to improve their capability of environmental protection. And we also helped the African countries. Our next step is to focus on the two things laid out by President Xi Jinping. The first one is the poverty alleviation through big data along the Belt and Road countries. And the second is to mobilize resources and power from the UN organizations and some institutions and governments to set up a better mechanism in order to improve the environmental protection capability along the Belt and Road countries. And this can not only benefit the Chinese people, but also benefit people in the world. People in the world can share the fruits of the development of the Belt and Road Initiative. Thank you.
交部长先生的是有关去年7月份中国出台的这个洋垃圾进口的禁令，想问实施到现在它的效果怎么样，还有没有后续的措施？另外我们也看到以前一些比较依赖中国市场的，尤其是一些发达国家，他们目前确实遇到了垃圾处理的一些困难。那不少分析说呢，是因为中国的禁令来得太突然，导致了他们的混乱。想请问您如何回应？谢谢。
Phoenix TV.Could you share your assessment on the effect of the foreign garbage ban issued last July? And will there be follow-up measures? This ban has caused difficulties in the waste management of some countries, particularly in the developed countries, that used to rely on the Chinese market. Some believe that China's sudden issuance of garbage ban is to blame for the chaos. What's your response to such comments?
首先呢，我想强调的，限制和
Firstly, I want to stress that the prohibition and the limitation on the importing of solid waste are the government policy of China just to orient the environmental protection and to safeguard people's health.
同时呢，这也完全是中国政府。
At the same time, this is also
完全应该自己享有的权利，我们应该尽到的责任。
the right owed to the government, and also the government's responsibility. During last century, in the end of 1980s, the international community initiated a tariff that's to control the hazardous waste transfer and storage. We are the treaty parties. This treaty clarified different countries' obligations and rights on banning the foreign wastes to enter its own integrity. The treaty also regulated all countries have the obligation and are responsible to reduce and treat its own hazardous wastes and other wastes. And when to transfer it to other countries, you must guarantee the public health of the country who are receiving these wastes. China's importing of solid waste started from 1980s. At the beginning, the volume was not too large, and after 1990s, it increased greatly. 20 years ago, the total importing volume is 4.5 million tons. And after 10 years, it increased to 45 million tons. The increase is sharp. More importantly, with time goes by, the imported foreign wastes emerged many prominent problems. In specific, during the importing process, there were many prohibited materials and wastes. Our country's relevant laws and regulations are also in accordance with the Basel Treaty. For the materials and wastes, some can be imported, but some are prohibited. So due to lack of control, there were a large amount of prohibited wastes have been imported. And these wastes imported have contaminated the environment greatly. Last July, we've conducted a thematic action on this importing solid wastes and liquid wastes. We've organized 1,700 personnel, and the inspection shows there are 1,700, which accounts for 60%, have the law violation acts. And we've treated and published 1,000 enterprises for their violation of laws and regulations. Their whole procedure of production contaminates people's health. Because of these critical problems, the Central Committee decided from this year to adjust and optimize the importing wastes and to greatly reduce the volume of importing wastes. In the first round, it mainly contains 4 types of wastes. This strategic reform plan led by the Central Committee to prohibit and ban the foreign wastes is of great significance and necessity and is fully reasonable. As we're the Ministry of Environmental Protection, we will firmly uphold the spirit of the Central Committee, and we've yielded relatively good results. That's of your concern. During the first half of last year, due to various reasons, including the improvement of the market, some enterprises availed the so-called opportunity to import foreign wastes. So there was an increased volume of foreign wastes, and in the second half of the last year, we've adopted plans to control this, and we yielded obvious results. In the future, we will keep this momentum and keep maintaining the favorable environment and to implement the Central Committee's policies timely. You also asked that some policies are implemented in a short period and it may result in chaotic in society. In my opinion, some people may push out their own responsibilities. Actually, during the whole process, we've taken multiple problems into considerations, and we've lived the transition time and period before the policy and action plan. For more specific problems, we also timely coordinate with relevant parties and solve it, so there was no great impact. What is very important is that not only China, but also foreign countries should uphold the spirit of the convention. That is, every country should dissolve its own wastes to reduce the wastes and treat it. With this premise, many things will be achieved, and this is favorable for the global green and low-carbon circular development, and will contribute to a clean and beautiful world.
左区第5排第1位那位穿灰衣服的女同志，哎，就这灰衣服的，就是这个。
谢谢主持人，我是中国经济导报中国发展网的记者。去年，中办国办通报了祁连山国家级自然保护区生态环境遭到破坏的问题，并问责了上百人，引发舆论的高度关注。但我们了解到，还有不少保护区
生态环境破坏问题依然严重。请问李部长，有什么举措让保护区真正得到保护？谢谢。
China Economic Herald, the general officers of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council exposed the ecological damages to the Chilean Mountains National Nature Reserve and held more than 100 people accountable, drawing much public attention. But serious damages have also been done to other nature reserves. Minister, what effective measures will be taken to truly preserve our nature reserves?
去年6月呢，是中办和国办呢发布了关于甘肃祁连山
Last June,
自然保护区生态环境
the Central Office of the Central Committee exposed the ecological damage of Chilean Mountain and alert the report on the Chilean Mountain. I'm sure you all have learned of that report. That report can be considered in the ecological history of great importance and even can be considered as a milestone. We can see how much importance and how much enormous strength we have attached to this case, and it has also laid profound impact on the society. After the report, the Ministry of Environmental Protection has go in accord with the spirit of the Central Committee and the requirement of the Central Committee to coordinate with Ministry of Homeland, of the Water Resources, and also other ministries to have a special task force named Green Guard of 2017. This is also an unprecedented task force. And over the history of the preservation of nature reserve, this task force has the largest coverage and have discovered the most issues and will exert the largest enforcement strength. And in this special action, we have achieved stage-no results. And we have also reported some of the results. In this special action, we have discovered 20,800 issues in over more than 1,000 nature reserves. Because 17 of them is approved in a later stage. That is 20,800 problems in 446 nature reserves, and a lot of them have been well answered. Also in the process, we have also cancelled and shut down 2,460 enterprises. And most importantly, we have also pushed forward the local regulations cancellation that's in disobey with the Central Committee and Central requirement. Good achievement have been delivered. We know there are more issues to be identified. For example, in some regions, the local government attach more importance to development rather than to environmental protection. And also, once some issues have been identified, immediate measures haven't been taken. For example, for the national nature reserves, the protection and development of those nature reserves is developed since the last 80s. And in that historic stage, some issues have been maintained, and we must definitely address those historic issues. And that is even more challenging and pose more risk to our future work. In this process, during our research and analysis of all the issues we identified, we will further establish a issue identification system. In the next step, we will further enhance our effort in the Green Guard of 2017. And we will widen our effort to other national nature reserves, especially for the issues identified in this process. We will categorize those issues and make a full list so that in the future we will have targeted alleviation of pollution problems. Currently, the crucial battle of environmental protection will mimic the effort in poverty alleviation, which means that we will categorize all of the issues and publicize the list to the public so that people can inspect and supervise our effort. Second, we will enhance our accountability system. Who create the problem should be accountable to addressing the problem. Third, which is also very important, is the publication of information, because the nature reserve protection concerns a lot of aspects. We have to address the existing problems and continue the effort in the future that requires a joint effort of all society. In China, there are 2,750 nature reserves, and there are 446 of national level nature reserve. The protection of those nature reserves is of great importance to the sustainable development strategy. With the report from the Central Office as a starting point, we will continue our effort in the protection of nature reserve. And in this process, we call for the joint effort of all walks of life so to protect all of these nature reserves. Thank you. That's the end of the press conference. Thank you, Mr. Li. Thank you all.